Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and it's Women's History Month, and I'm here today to talk to you about Batman the Animated Series, Season 2, Episode 28, Harley and Ivy. So this is the episode that started it all. The episode that partnered that of Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy and made them like a supervillain female duo and also girlfriends and stuff. This came back out in the really early 90s, probably around like 94 maybe, something like that. And so they couldn't depict them as like girlfriends, but in the comics they later on started a relationship. This will translate on over to like the comics of Batman the Animated Series comic books, to that of just the regular DC comic books, video games, and even that of the HBO HBO Max Harley Quinn show. Sadly, however, these two have never been partnered in live action. Then again, I don't know about Gotham. I stopped watching around season 2, so I don't know what the world they did with that. But these two have been, like, whenever you think of them, you think of Thelma and Louise, which, of course, Paul Dini and Bruce Timm are the one who created Harley Quinn, and Paul Dini actually wrote this episode, and people assume he had Thelma and Louise in mind, but at that time he had never saw it. After writing the episode, he finally decided to go and watch the movie and was all like, oh wow, that's kind of similar. So no, this episode is not based on Thelma and Louise and stuff. This episode also marks an appearance by the original Renee Montoya. Don't know why they recast her for the new Adventures, but they did. Man, it's so weird watching this episode because there are 3 dead people now in this episode. Kevin Conroy as Batman, may he rest in peace, the actor who plays Alfred, and of course Arlene Sorkin, who played that of Harley Quinn. May they all rest in peace. She brought such, like, I don't know, man. It's just like she brought this amazement to her voice as Harley Quinn. So many people have tried to duplicate it, but they can't get it exactly the way her sound. She has this innocence to her. She's just like, you know, the girl who likes the bad boy. She's a bad girl herself, and she's pretty villainous, but at the core, she's just as sweet and innocent. She's just misguided because she was brainwashed by that of the Joker. And, you know, this earlier version of Harley Quinn, I've always liked. This is the one that made everybody fall in love with her because of that sweetness and that innocence. She wasn't as crazy and manic as she's been depicted in other incarnations. In other incarnations, she's just like a psychopath and everything. Especially the one on HBO Max, ripping off people's ears with her teeth and stuff like that. Or when Bruce Timm created that Justice League Gods Among Us or something like that, where she chopped off the heads of her parents and all that other weird, I don't know the world that man was thinking. Sometimes when it comes to Bruce Timm, you got to pull on his leash. He's a great creator, but sometimes he just goes too far with like the sexy women, the sexual stuff, and the dark grittiness. You just gotta tug it and pull him back into reality and stuff. Be like, no, Bruce, no. That's why I'm kind of worried about his new Amazon Prime Batman show, because it's just like, now this man's gonna be on streaming, so he can get away with a whole lot of stuff. And it's like, oh Lord Jesus, please be a good man, Bruce Timm. I'm begging you, please. But yeah, this has always been my favorite version of Harley Quinn, because she's not too crazy and she's not too evil, but she's also not too sweet. She's just very misguided. And pairing her with Poison Ivy was the strangest thing ever, It was basically Paul Dini going into Alan Burnett's office and just like, hey, can I combine these two and do like an episode? He's like, sure, do what you want. And it's just a weird pairing because these two, prior to this episode, have never met in like the show. And, you know, one would think, okay, why didn't they partner her with Catwoman? Well, that's too obvious and everything. And sometimes opposites attract and everything. And here it did. And they had a long run at being partners in their relationship in like the comics. And like I said before, the HBO Max show. In fact, this episode is kind of like when you get to the HBO Max pilot episode of Harley Quinn, it's basically a reconstructed version of this episode. Like, this is the one that started it all and everything. And I can't believe this was like, what, 30 years ago? Like, that's insane. That's just insane. Now, the audio commentary for this is in the original DVD. I don't know if it's in the newer ones. I don't want the new ones. I like the old DVDs. I like the old version with the dust and like the pixelation and stuff like that. I don't want the crystal clear clarity and everything, you know? It's just, that's not the way I remember it. Then I was thinking, you know, I really don't talk about Batman the animated series that much, and I'm about to start doing it at some point in time. I'm all like, hey, it's still Women's Month, and I want a Harley Quinn episode, because I just got through talking about, like, the HBO Max Season 1 show. I don't know if I'm going to upload that one first, or this one first. And so I'm all like, what's a good Harley Quinn episode? There's at least 3 in, like, you know, Batman the animated series. I'm like, oh wait, there's one where she's partnered with Poison Ivy. That's great to go along with my HBO Max review. And so, yeah. So this episode was animated by TMS. They animate a lot of the, like, you know, DCAU series, and they do a phenomenal job. They're just so fluent in their animation. But there's one point when the Joker goes to Poison Ivy's house where his face looks weird. I don't know what the world was up with that. And also, Batman was a weird shape when he stood up after he was at Poison Ivy's house, and the way they ran. It was just at that one point in time, the animation just got really bad. Other than that, the animation is flawless. So basically, the episode starts with Harley and the Joker running from Batman, a car chase and everything. And so Batman's in the Batmobile and he's just chasing them down, and Harley's at the wheel and she's frantic as the Joker is just like lounging in the back. And so he wants her to turn on a different road. She doesn't want to because she knows it's like a hill, but he doesn't remember. And the Joker is a very temperamental type of person. He always thinks he's right. If you try to correct him, he'll smack you around and stuff like that. And so then he wants like the gun, but then she gives him the bang gun with a little flag coming out. So he is very fed up with her. Like, he's just pissed. So when they finally do escape and they're back at their lair, you know, he's just extremely disappointed in her. And as he's talking to his goons, she decided to chime in and give him some advice because she thinks something would be funny. You don't tell the Joker what's funny. That is the best way to get like put in a giant blender or something, you know, or gassed in the face or just blown up. And so he's literally had it with her because he's very abusive to her. And so he basically just kicks her out like the hideout. And all upset, she's determined to make it on her own and show him. But she's still madly in love with him because she's that little schoolgirl who has the school crush on that of the bad boy. And so, like, we see her sneaking into, like, a museum and trying to steal, I believe, like, a diamond. And as she's about to cut through the glass, the alarm goes off. It's Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy stole some, like, plant, like, chemicals or something like that, which isn't really explained very well, and why would they be in a museum? So, like, she helps Ivy flee from that of the police. And then she uses one of the jars with the chemicals in it and shoots it at the guards, and it creates the giant plants. I don't know how that's possible when it's a museum, and shouldn't this stuff be like old or something? So it's not like it's Ivy's toxins. Now, this version of Ivy is the one who looks human with human colored skin and wears that light green outfit. I've never liked that outfit. I like her face design, but the outfit and everything else just did not match. It just didn't do it for me. It's my least favorite version of Poison Ivy, but I love the actress voice. And her face is really cool. It's just that god-awful outfit they gave her. Like Bruce Timm, this is the craziest part. He said he had a hard time drawing like attractive women and stuff like that back in the day. So he had this female artist help him, and ever since he's been able to do it. Well, he's been able to do a little too much. So after they escape and they head in the car, this is the start of their friendship, where they slap each other's hand. They're like, yes. You knew something was gonna be special when they did that. And so we get to see what Poison Ivy's hideout looked like, because the first time we saw it, it was just a lab, a botanical garden. And so, or one of them bloom houses type thing, what do you call it? Well, lots of plants being, but this time she lives on a landfill because she's immune to toxins. And so while they're there, they start to bond. And then we get the chorus, Ivory lecturing Harley Quinn about liking the Joker and wondering what the heck is wrong with her and why do you like him, because he's so abusive and stuff. But Harley can't see past what anybody is trying to say when they try to put some sense into her, because she thinks that he's not abusive all the time and that he really loves her. Well, these two decide to go on, like, you know, a crime spree. They go to like an all gentlemen's club because they're pissed that no woman is in the club. And you do get a lot of female empowerment speeches from Poison Ivy, because she is that of like a feminist and stuff, you know, and she is a strong woman. Whereas Harley is not. Harley's just like a goofball. So at some point in time, they meet these three guys at like a stoplight when they're at the car. And two of them are based on, well, one's based on Bruce Timm and the other one's based on somebody else. Harley decides she's gonna blow the car up with the bazooka of all things. And so like at some point, Batman, you know, he does his detective stuff and he realizes where the soot's coming from their wheels. And so he goes to Ivy's little hideout place. By this time, the Joker, it's so funny. So like the Joker, he's back at his hideout and he wants to know where Harley is because he doesn't have no clean socks. The hyenas are snapping at him because nobody's fed them and nothing's been cleaned in his place. And his goons literally tell him, you must have forgot, but you kicked her out. And then they showed her the newspaper, because the newspaper article is that of Ivory and Harley, the new queens of like crime. And he gives out the coolest scream ever. That's so comedic, so Mark Hamill. It's like one of the best screams ever. Because it's almost like a laugh, but it's a scream. So at some point, Batman is at their hideout with like a gas mask on. But, you know, they get the upper hand on him and they tie him up. And this is when Ivy tells him, oh, Batman, I bet you didn't expect for two women to beat you up and everything. And he tells them, male or female, like, you know, you're like psychotic. So they dump him in like a bunch of like toxic water, which should have killed him, but it didn't because he's Batman. But then Harley sees that, like, you know, the light is on at their place. They had turned it off. Well, the Joker and his goons decide to crash. And the Joker's pretending like, you know, I'm here for the thing I lost. And Harley thinks that's her. But he just wants all the money that, like, Harley and them have stolen, being typical Joker. And Ivory's not really having none of this crap. Like, she's the type of person who will sass the Joker and, you know, tell him how it is and stuff. And he decides he's gonna gas her dead in the face with his lapel, but the toxins don't work on her because she is immune. She's not fully metahuman, but she does have this weird, like, you know, immunity. But you know the version I've always loved of Poison Ivy, when she is a metahuman, because she's more powerful that way. And I like the green skin when they do to give it to her, but here she just has regular normal people's skin. So they hightail it on out of there, they head in the car and they get on out. Batman takes on the Joker. With Joker, this is what's so great about the Joker. He has a true screw loose. He's just shooting up the place. And Batman lets him know, yo man, this whole place is toxic and can blow up at any point in time. But Joker don't care. So the thing about the Joker is he wants to live, but he'd rather see Batman die first, even if he has to die along with him. It's kind of like the Riddler in the comics, to where, say the Riddler's on the train, right? And Batman's trying to like save him, dangling off like the bridge and stuff with the tracks. And Riddler knows he needs to survive this, but he wants to give Batman one last riddle and want him to solve it before he will allow himself to be saved. That's kind of how the Joker is. So everything blows up. Batman saves the Joker. And as he's about to pursue the ladies, their tire gets blown out by Renee Montoya because they pissed her off earlier. And when they pissed off, all she did was just talk Spanish to them in a very, I don't know what she said, but it was mean. And so now they're all locked up. And Joker is in a straitjacket talking about the next time I start a gang, I ain't gonna have no women. And so Harley is down in the garden with Ivy and still talking about like, you know, I think we can make it work out. And Ivy just thinks she's so pathetic because she keeps running back to the bad boy like so many women do when they run back to their bad lover. And the whole Joker and Harley thing is one of the most toxic, worst relationships ever and stuff. And this is why DC Comics have been trying to get those two to like separate and everything. You know, one interesting thing about this is that Poison Ivy is all about plants, right? But yet when she eats, you think she would eat meat. But no, she eats vegetables. Well, vegetables are plants, and I'm surprised she's willing to eat a plant. That's never made no sense to me. But yeah, this is the episode that really started it all. And it's such a fun, like, girl adventure episode and stuff. And the thing, you know, this would have never happened if Paul Dini never went to Alan Burnett's office and stuff. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, well, I'll talk to you later. Bye.